Welcome to this Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous class guide for the Baked Trickster class build. This class build is designed as a through-and-through melee build, aimed at maximizing your damage potential, with the Vivisectionist subclass of the Alchemist class as one of the most well-designed classes in the game for this purpose, which, while you lose access to the staple ability of an alchemist, namely bombs, you instead get access to sneak attacks. And you do not lose access to the alchemist mutagens, which are among the most powerful buffs that the class provides you. I do have some limited experience with the Vivisectionist subclass from back when I played Pathfinder Kingmaker on one of my companion character builds, and the damage output was quite immense. The full credit for this specific build goes to InEffect and his excellent work together with Chautamok and What is Sol with their guides that they have made over at Neoseeker. You will find a link to that in the video description, and the guide that they have made is really good. It includes this class build, amongst others, in written format for easy reference, companion class builds, general tips and tricks, and of course there are also a storyline walkthrough and companion quest walkthrough if you are interested in those. Now, this class build is aiming at stacking as many damage die as possible, giving you excellent offense and defense, and it also includes a spell list that synergizes well with that goal. It also has good synergies with your party companions, being able to, for instance, buff animal companions that are summoned by anyone in the party. One thing to note is that you will consider having someone, you should consider having someone in your party that can cast Magic Fang on you, at least if you want your natural attacks to actually hit things. The weapons of choice will be the quarterstaff early on, but then you will want to switch to a scythe or a falchion, depending on your preference, later on. With that said, let's do a breakdown of the build. Your role is primarily a damage dealer, but you also have excellent capabilities to be the party tank. Your first class selection will not be the Vivisectionist, but rather you will want to pick Monk. For race, you will want to pick Tiefling, and then on the heritage choice, you want to go with Motherless. Now, the Motherless gives you a +2 racial bonus to Strength and Wisdom, and a -2 penalty to Intelligence. Additionally, you get a +2 racial bonus to Mobility and Law Nature checks, which are skills that you are going to be relying on this build. On top of that, you are going to be able to use the Blur spell once per day, and you also gain a secondary Bite attack that deals 1d6 damage as a natural attack. For your background selection, you want to go to Street Urchin and select the Pickpocket background. This will add Trickery and Stealth to the list of your class skills, and you also gain a +2 bonus on initiative rolls. This latter thing here is the main reason for picking the Pickpocket background, because +2 bonus on initiative rolls for this specific class is very important. Now, your ability scores. The first thing you'll want to do here is set Charisma to 7, and then you want to set your Strength to 18. You want to set your Dexterity to 15, your Constitution to 12, your Intelligence to 12, and finally you want to set your Wisdom to 16. Every 4th level you will gain an additional ability point that you can add to these ability score points. The first one, which you'll get on level 4, you will want to put into Dexterity. The rest you will want to put into Strength, which will lead to you ending up with a total ability score here on Strength of 22. And on Dexterity 16. On top of that, any items that you wear might also modify these stats. But that is the core stats that you will always have: 22, 16, 12, 12, 16, 7 when you are level 20. Skills. On level 1, you will want to put 1 point into Athletics, 1 point into Mobility, 1 point into Stealth, and 1 point into Perception. However, after level 1, you do not want to put more points into Stealth, and you do not want to put more points into perception. Rather, those points you will want to put them into knowledge world and lore religion. Mobility, you will want to have a total of 18 points here. That is, at level 18, you stop putting points into mobility. But for athletics, you want to take that all the way up to 20. On level 2, or rather, let me attempt to clarify that, because you will swap out the points that you have put into stealth and perception. You will swap out those skills with knowledge world and lore religion. So this is the level 1 skills points that you put in here, and then from level 2 you're going to use your skill points in the following way. Each time you level all the way up to level 18 from level 2, 1 point in athletics, 1 point in mobility, 1 point in knowledge world, and 1 point in lore religion. At level 19 and 20, you still want to put 1 point into athletics, 1 point into knowledge world, and 1 point into lore religion. But any spare points that you are left with, use them at your own discretion. Moving on to feats. For your initial base class feat, you want to pick dodge, which you can find down here. The reason for this is that you'll get a +1 dodge bonus to your armor class. You'll lose that if any condition makes you lose your dexterity bonus to your armor class. But if that happens, you are basically in a very bad position anyways. For your monk bonus feat, you will want to pick crane style. Now, crane style does somewhat the same thing here. It does give you a dodge bonus to armor class, but the important part of this is that you have a stance where you can be in fighting defensively mode. Usually that gives you a penalty of -4, but having crane style reduces this to -2. And when you are in the defensive style, you also gain even more. I don't remember if it's armor class, but it makes it even harder to hit you. So when you are up front and you are targeted, you will want to switch into the fighting defensively mode, which is a very quick action down on your hotbar. Now, deity choice. You can pick whatever deity you want, but since you're a monk, you will have to go lawful. And if you scroll down here, you can see that these deities have been grayed out. You cannot pick them because they are the deities that do not allow you to play a lawful character. You want to make sure that you pick a deity that allows you to play the way that you want to play on the good and evil axis as well. That is fairly important, because playing the game as a good character or playing the game as an evil character is very different from one another in the experience that you will have. If you look at Erastil here, Erastil will allow you to have lawful good or lawful neutral, but you will not be allowed to play lawful evil. Whereas if you have Asmodeus, you will be allowed to pick lawful neutral or lawful evil, but not lawful good. So my personal choice for this build, which also fits somewhat with being a monk on the first level, and also it kind of fits with the Vivisectionist as well, is Irori, or Airori. Airori is the god of enlightenment, self-perfection, knowledge, healing, and inner strength. And Airori also handily allows you to play any of the lawful alignments, yes. So by picking Airori, you can just pick the alignment you want here. The character doesn't look very lawful good, but that is probably what I would pick. But there are portrait packs available that you can download if you want to have more selection than the ones that have been added to the base game. Let's just go with lawful neutral here. Now, the rest of the character build is your appearance, your voice, and your name, and I'm going to just ignore that because that's your personal choice, how you want your character to look and how you want your character to sound, and of course, naming your character should definitely be your own choice. Now, before I go through the picks that you want to make per level and so forth, remember that this class build plays out with being up close, doing lots of damage to your opponents with your weapons, and that you're also capable of being the party tank while doing all that damage. It is important that you remember to use your mutagens, because they are a very important ability for any alchemist, but even more so for this one. And of course, also remember to use your buffing abilities, whether they are from your spellbooks or they are otherwise granted abilities. Also, don't be afraid to experiment with the build if you feel there are better or more fun choices that you can make. Now, I would love to go in depth and explain how you play this build, but due to time constraints, a guide like this absolutely has to be short and to the point. I sadly do not have the luxury of doing so. However, if you do follow the guide and pay attention to the skills and spells that the guide recommends that you take when you take them, it should hopefully be apparent what you should focus on, and the class itself is thankfully rather straightforward to play in that regard, so this should not be among the hardest class builds to play. For each level, I will be calling out things in a very specific manner. I will say level X, then the class subclass that you want to pick for that level, then I will follow up with what feats and or abilities that you want to pick after you have picked your class or subclass. For example, if this was level 1, I would say level 1, Monk, and you'll want to pick Dodge and Crane Style. So let's just move on to each level. Level 2, Vivisectionist. Remember that that is found as a subclass underneath Alchemist, and you have no feats or abilities to pick for this level. Level 3, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Accomplished Sneak Attacker and Feral Mutagen. Level 4, Vivisectionist, and you have no picks for this level either. Level 5, here you'll want to introduce a new class to the build, the Slayer, and you'll want to pick Outflank and Armored Mask as your feats/abilities. Be aware that you can swap out Slayer with the subclass Demon Slayer if you do not mind relying on Mage Armor potions, but that's a choice you'll have to make. Level 6, you go back to Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Weapon Focus Scythe or Weapon Focus Falchion, depending on which of those weapons you want to be using. Level 7, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Dazzling Display. Level 8, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Feral Wings. Level 9, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Shatter Defenses. Level 10, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Infusion. Level 11, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Combat Reflexes. Level 12, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Crippling Strike. Level 13, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Improved Critical Scythe or Improved Critical for Falchion, depending on which of the weapons you are using. Level 14, Vivisectionist, and you'll want to pick Greater Mutagen. Level 15, you are going to go back to picking Slayer, and this time you'll want to pick Opportunist and Improved Critical again, so I'm going to call it Improved Critical. Level 16, Vivisectionist, and you have nothing to pick here. Level 17, Vivisectionist, and you will want to pick Skill Focus Athletics and Improved Critical. Level 18, Vivisectionist, and again nothing to pick. Level 19, Vivisectionist, and you will want to pick Grand Mutagen, and yet again Improved Critical. And finally level 20, Slayer, and there is nothing to pick on this level. Now, let's move on to the spell priority list, and these are the spells that are highly suggested that you take for the build. Take note of them, because they are important to how this class build is played. But of course, if you want to switch out any of the spells, then by all means feel free to do so, of course. Level 1, Shield, enlarge person, and cure light wounds. Level 2. Bark skin, restoration lesser, cure moderate wounds, cat's grace, and bull's strength. Level 3. Haste, resist energy communal, delay poison communal, and thorn body. Level 4. Greater invisibility, echolocation, restoration, cure critical wounds, and death ward. Level 5. Beast shape 3 and spell resistance. And finally level 6. Beast shape 4, legendary proportions, heal, transformation, and finally true seeing. Now do remember that the levels that I'm referring to here is not your character levels, it is rather the spell levels, and you'll get these at other levels than your character levels, just so you're aware of that, so that that isn't a point of confusion. Next up we have your mythic path. You will want to pick the Trickster mythic path, and I will go through the mythic path feats. I will also go through the Trickster mythic path feats, and finally I will go through the Trickster spell priority list in that order. So let's begin with the mythic path feats. Level 1, you want to pick Close to the Abyss and Thundering Blows. Level 2, Destiny Beyond Birth. Level 3, Archmage Armor. Level 4, Improved Critical Mythic. Level 5, Abundant Casting. Level 6, Extra Mythic Ability, Unrelenting Assault. That is, you pick Extra Mythic Ability and then you pick the ability Unrelenting Assault. Level 7, Leading Strike. Level 8, Flawless Attacks. Level 9, Improved Abundant Casting. And finally for level 10, Mythic Sneak Attacker. Now we move on to the Trickster Mythic Path feats, and these start at level 3. For level 3, Perception rank 1. Level 4, Arcana rank 1 and Perception rank 2. Level 5, Athletics rank 1. Level 6, Nature rank 1 and then Nature rank 2. Level 7, Religion rank 1 and Nature rank 3. Level 8, Mobility rank 1 and Athletics rank 2. Level 9, World rank 1 and Arcana rank 2. And finally, level 10, Infuse Magic Device, and then you'll either want to pick Athletics rank 3 or Arcana rank 3, depending on your preference. Now finally, the Trickster spell priority list is as follows. Level 1, Vanish and Feather Step. Level 2, Mirror Image, Chameleon Stride, Cat's Grace, unless you already picked that, or you want to pick it here instead, and then Invisibility. Level 3, Glorious Beard and Summon Medium Beer Elemental. Level 4, Greater Invisibility, Shadow Conjuration, and Summon Large Beer Elemental. Level 5, Microscopic Proportions, Rain of Halberds, and Summon Greater Beer Elemental. Level 6, this is probably one of the best named spells of all spells in the game. Summon Perpetually Annoyed Wizard. Sounds great. Like you have your own personal Gandalf running around with you, just he's perpetually annoyed. And finally, level 7, Trick Fate and Ray of Halberds. And that's the things that you need to know for how to build this class. I hope that the guide has provided you with a good baseline for how to build a very powerful damage dealer tank build, and I hope that you'll also have a great time dishing out immense damage with your Scythe or your Falchion using this build. The damage potential in this build is quite extreme. Again, the credit for the build goes to InEffect and his guides that he has written together with Chotomok and What is Soul over at Neoseeker. I'm very grateful for the guides that they've written there, both for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous and of course also back for Pathfinder Kingmaker. Now, if you have any questions and or comments, then please do feel free to leave those in the comment section. Also remember, there's a link to the guides in written form over at Neoseeker, which you'll also find in the description. And if you want to, you can join the Discord server, which you'll also find in the description, a link to that. There is a dedicated channel there for Pathfinder, both Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous, and I'd love to discuss theory crafting, class builds and so forth in that channel, so if you're interested, please do join. And I'm also having a Let's Play series of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. You'll find a link to that in the description as well. So I hopefully will see you there too. But with that, thank you all so very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in either the Discord or another video, or maybe both. Bye for now.